It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 8th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Rain this morning, sun and clouds this afternoon, high 72. Tonight and overnight clear, low 53. And then Thursday, sunshine, cooler, more fall-like temperatures, high 63. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 69 and cloudy in Valhalla up in Westchester County, 68 and cloudy in Pennington over in New Jersey, and it's 67 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
A Brooklyn mom leaves 7 kids home alone to commit burglaries. A deadly attack in a subway station has riders unnerved. The men who want to be mayor battle for the Jewish vote. Zabar's customers in mourning. A plea for prayers for Dolly Parton. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. The Yankees lived to see another day. They erased an early 5-run deficit, kept their season alive. 9-6 win over the Blue Jays. Game 3 of the ALDS up in the Bronx. Maybe you went to bed when they were losing thinking the season was over. It wasn't. Aaron Judge coming through big time. 3 for 4. Home run, 3 runs scored, and 4 RBIs to lead the way at the plate. Yankee manager Aaron Boone talks about Aaron Judge's game-tying homer, that one that stayed fair if you stayed up to watch the game.
Just a really good swing to keep himself tight to that ball.
It was.
To be able to not spin off and just hook it and to keep it fair. Settled back into it a little bit, and obviously Judgy hits the big homer and we're able to tack on. But just an awesome team win. So many guys playing an important role in some way, shape, or form.
So Game 5, let's start with Game 4. Right, Game 4 is tonight up at the Bronx at 7:08. Now, if they're able to win that, and first they do have to do that, Game 5, that would be up in Toronto on Friday night. So maybe they can make it one game at a time, and that is their mantra, no doubt. 5:02. The mother of a 5-year-old boy arrested after her child was discovered outside of a laundromat in Queens. No shoes on, no adult supervision. This was about 5:30 in the morning in Far Rockaway on Seagirt Boulevard. So the woman who works at this laundromat found this kid. First she saw him like walking all over the parking lot. Then he came into the laundromat. Then she knew something was up because she saw he was shoeless and alone.
She told me he's confused. It's sad. It's like he can understand where is exactly the house.
Yeah, so there was surveillance video of this child. You can see him running aimlessly through this laundromat parking lot. That's when the worker took notice, brought him in, and then tried to figure out who he was.
She can help with the police, call to the police because the kid don't talk. And it's difficult for, the name or the telephone number.
So they found out this kid, autistic, nonverbal, so he couldn't communicate who he was, why he was there. Here's the manager of the laundromat.
I'm very proud of her. She called the cops and took care of the kid until they came. The child was running by himself up and down. It's very shocking, that the parents leave their kids outside in the street and they don't even know where they are.
Okay, so maybe you think this is just a story of a lost boy who's then discovered. It gets much bigger than that. So the boy taken by EMS to St. John's Episcopal Hospital for evaluation. Again, autism, nonverbal, they can't figure out who he is. So police eventually receive a tip on the boy's identity so they know where he lives. They're able to figure out who he is. So he lives a block from the laundromat. So cops go over to this house and they find 7 kids home alone. And what Eyewitness News is reporting is the mother had left those kids home alone on Tuesday to commit a robbery in Brooklyn. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So when she was arrested, by the way, this mother apparently told police that she didn't even have any kids. So this whole crazy scene playing out yesterday.
Times get hard and sometimes you get...
Here's a neighbor of this mother who says the mother was going through a rough time.
Times get hard and sometimes you get desperate, but there are resources out there and nothing is worth losing your children. Like your children is important. Nothing is worth what you just did, what you risked. And thank God that there are literal angels walking the streets that found him and made sure he was safe. But you gotta think.
Yeah, she's right about that. So the 5-year-old boy is safe now. He is in the custody of ACS. For the other 7 children, we just don't know. Police haven't told us. They haven't given us the ID of that mother. But what a crazy story out of Queens. 505 NYPD out with photos of a 2-person robbery crew that's hit 47 times since April, 3 different boroughs.
Police say they struck at least one time in East Harlem. The rest of their 47 attacks since late April happened in 17 different police precincts in Brooklyn and Queens. Cops say the suspects approach their victims, show a knife, then rob them. They use a motorized scooter to get away. Several victims have suffered minor injuries. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
505, let's go out to Brooklyn, where a man was viciously beaten to death outside a subway station downtown Brooklyn yesterday afternoon. His attacker was caught hours later by cops in Times Square. So when this man was found, he was unconscious, unresponsive, severe injuries across his face and body. This was out the J Street Metro Tech station about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So this is the middle of the day. So sources say this guy who carried out the attack was in his 20s. We don't know if there was any connection. They knew each other, but he had been stomped on his head 15 times. The attack, as you might guess, has left riders unnerved.
I'm very surprised, Stuff always going on in New York. You know that. The subway, walking, crossing the street.
The ruthless suspect sifted through his victim's wallet, backpack, and pockets after stomping on him 15 times, grabbed what he could, and then ran from the scene. Thank God cops caught up with him a short time later in Times Square.
Hear that someone's passed away. It is sad. I didn't expect it to happen here. I think it's just the climate right now where a lot of people are either panicking due to the lack of work or the expense of living at the moment or just their daily problems that people act out worse than what one would imagine.
Now, so far, we don't have a word on a motive for the attack. We don't know if the attacker knew the man he killed. We're waiting for more details from the NYPD, but an awful story out of Brooklyn. WABC News Time 508. A woman's body found at a New Jersey golf course yesterday.
The grisly discovery, a woman's body wrapped in blankets, reportedly made in a high-end neighborhood of Livingston, New Jersey. The woman's body found near a roadway at the exclusive Cedar Hill golf course. Cops say it looks like the body had been there for several days at least. The Essex County Prosecutor's Office now asking the public for any tips they may have. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Down to Virginia. Former FBI Director James Comey set to be arraigned today on 2 federal charges.
Comey has been charged with obstruction of justice and making false statements by the Justice Department. The case is connected to Comey's testimony before Congress in 2020. He's accused of lying to the Senate Judiciary Committee about leaking information from the FBI's Trump-Russia investigation that began in 2016. Comey is expected to appear in person for his arraignment in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm Mark Mayfield.
From Virginia, let's head over to Washington, D.C. Plenty of fireworks. When Attorney General Pam Bondi appeared before Senators Capitol Hill yesterday, she faced off with Democrats over a wide range of issues that included the deployment of the National Guard to cities across the country, the Jeffrey Epstein case, and the indictment of James Comey.
What conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey?
No one is above the law, not even the president. That's a quote from you.
When you saw that
No one is above the law. That was your quote.
That's Bondi sparring with Democratic Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal. Democrats accused Bondi of going after President Trump's political foes, while Bondi accused them of turning a blind eye when Trump was being prosecuted.
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump.
Meanwhile, Republicans on that committee joined Bondi to denounce what they called the weaponization of the DOJ under former President Biden. The Supreme Court, it'll hear arguments today over whether a woman can sue the Postal Service for what she says was a racially motivated campaign to withhold her mail.
The Texas woman has been denied the right to sue because the Justice Department argues the Postal Service has immunity for mail problems. An appeals court judge later ruled that the woman can sue because that immunity doesn't cover refusal to deliver the mail. Now the High Court will decide which argument holds the most weight. I'm Mark Mayfield.
At the White House yesterday, the president meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, touting the U.S. relationship with Canada.
We'll spend some time and we'll make some deals and we'll do some things that are good for both of our countries.
Now, Canada has been unable to reach a new trade deal since the U.S. imposed a 35% tariff on Canadian exports. In terms of trade, the president says he hopes to get some deals done. Reports say the president and Prime Minister Carney have a stronger relationship than they did since their last meeting. You'll remember that one. Trump talked about making Canada the 51st U.S. state. That did not go over well in Canada.
It's a tough situation because we want to make our cars here. At the same time, we want Canada to do well making cars. We have a natural conflict. It's a natural business conflict. Nothing wrong with it. And I think we've come a long way over the last few months, actually, in terms of that relationship.
Yeah, Prime Minister Mark Carney agreed. He said things are better.
We are the second largest trading partner of the United States. We do a lot of trade going across the border where we're cooperating, first thing. Secondly, we are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone.
We're the king of being screwed by tariffs, just so you understand. And I'm not talking about with Canada. I'm talking about with countries all over the world. When you look at Europe, when you look at China, when you look at all of the, almost every country.
512. Out to Illinois, where Governor J.B. Pritzker criticizing the federal intervention in Chicago. Pritzker says the White House has deployed ICE, Border Patrol, National Guard without speaking to him.
It's deeply concerning. We don't know exactly where this is going to end. What we know is that it is striking fear in the hearts of everybody in Chicago.
Protests ongoing in the city in response to increased ICE activity. There are reports that members of the Texas National Guard have arrived.
So they sent all these folks, the ICE and CBP and now National Guard, without talking to me at all. They have not picked up the phone and called me, not once.
President Trump not backing down, though. He isn't ruling out using the Insurrection Act to crack down on crime in Chicago. President telling reporters yesterday that it's been invoked before, and then said if the governor of Illinois can't do his job, he says the White House will.
They can't handle it. They don't know what they're doing. The mayor is grossly incompetent. He's at a 4% approval rating in Chicago.
The Insurrection Act of 1807, that allows a president to deploy the military to suppress an armed rebellion or civil unrest. It was used not that long ago, 1992, for the Los Angeles riots.
People would come from Canada. People would come from other places and end up getting shot. Nobody's being shot. The National Guard's been unbelievable.
The president says it's just really all about fixing Chicago.
If you look at Chicago, Chicago's a great city where there's a lot of crime. And if the governor can't do the job, we'll do the job. It's all very simple.
The other place the troops, the White House wants to send troops is Portland, Oregon. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem touring an ICE facility in Portland yesterday. She met with Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and the police chief there, who says he understands what Noem wants to accomplish.
The secretary obviously and understandably is very concerned for the safety of her employees, her officers, as well as the building itself and the ability for it to function.
Day says they have difference of opinion on how to provide that security. He says it needs to be what he calls a holistic approach from the state, county, and city resources.
Clearly, some differences of opinion. If anybody's been paying attention to the national conversation, I wouldn't say that we're all in alignment and agreement on every point.
Noem says they did find some common ground yesterday.
We continue to be professionals, and we continue to strive for a shared value of safety.
All right. In a moment, we'll go back down to Washington. We haven't talked about the shutdown. It is day 8. We'll tell you where that's at in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC sports desk. The Yankees live another day, Justin Ellick.
Yes, they do. Noam Liddon. What a ball game it was out in the Bronx. Yanks avoiding elimination and extending the ALDS with a 9-6 win over the Toronto Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium. The comeback was fueled by a dramatic Aaron Judge performance and key bullpen outings. Toronto jumped out to a 6-1 lead early, thanks in part to a 2-run homer by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the first inning and a big third inning with multiple RBI hits. In the bottom of the fourth, Aaron Judge crushed a 3-run homer off a fastball from reliever Lewis Varland to tie the game at 6. Here's what that sounded like, courtesy of FS1.
2-strike pitch. Hits a drive down the line. If it's fair, it's his moment. It is. It's tied. Judge has
arrived. Soon after, Jazz Chisholm Jr. put the Yanks up for good with this no-doubter in the 5th.
There's a drive to deep right field. New York leads for the first time in the series. Jazz Chisholm goes deep.
It was a party in the stadium last night, man. I was going to go to sleep and I'm late, and then all of a sudden...
Good thing you did.
The Yanks kept just putting jolts of energy into me. I'm lying on my couch, I'm getting up, I'm pumping my fist. Unbelievable stuff from the bats last night. They woke up, man, and then the bullpen nailed it down. A couple of insurance runs later, Yanks have a 9-6 lead. Relievers were crucial, shutting down Toronto's offense for the final 6 2/3 innings after Carlos Rodon struggled to start. Up next for the Yankees, another elimination game tonight set for a 7:08 p.m. first pitch from the Bronx. The rookie Cam Schlittler will return to the mound to try and keep this Yankee train rolling. Out to Detroit, the Mariners doubled up the Tigers 8-4 in that ALDS Game 3. Seattle leads the series now 2-1. Game 4 is this afternoon at 3:08 p.m. from Detroit. And other MLB games this afternoon, or I should say tonight, 5:08 p.m. Brewers are in Chicago against the Cubs, obviously. Game 3 of that NLDS there. Milwaukee leading that series 2-0, trying to move on there. And the Phillies and Dodgers will get Game 3 of that National League Division Series underway tonight at 9:08 p.m. LA leading that series as well, 2-0. And we did have hockey last night in Nome-Leyden at MSG. The Rangers began their 2025 campaign with a 3-0 shutout loss to the Penguins. Up next for them, they'll visit Buffalo tomorrow night. Also tomorrow night, 7 p.m. puck drop between the Islanders and the Penguins as the Isles will get their campaign underway, and the Devils will get their regular season going as well at 7:30 p.m. in Carolina tomorrow night against the Hurricanes. That is your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 520. Let's head back down to D.C. The Senate will vote today 2 measures aimed at bringing the partial government shutdown to an end. It was on Monday that both measures fell short of the 60 votes that were needed. Here's Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who says it's all the Democrats' fault.
This is very simple. Open up the government, and this is a non-issue. We don't have to have this conversation. Everybody gets paid when the government is open. There are a lot of really bad things that happen to the American people, and there are going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be getting paychecks. And you know, he mentioned our troops. That is something that becomes a reality starting next week.
Colorado Democratic Senator John Hickenlooper, he spoke on the Senate floor yesterday.
By November 1st, Coloradans on the marketplace plans that they get from the healthcare exchange, they'll be getting the terrifying news, the alert, from the insurance company that their premiums are about to increase.
His speech part of a Democratic effort nationwide calling on Republicans to negotiate an end to the shutdown.
What we're being told is that some Colorado families are going to see price tags $1,000 a month higher.
President Trump thinks he knows why Democrats are dug in as the government shutdown continues.
This is like a kamikaze attack. They have nothing to lose.
And he says that the Democrats don't have leadership. While he has a mandate from American voters, Republicans want a temporary stopgap bill to reopen the government and promise to negotiate on those expiring Affordable Care Act tax credits. But Democrats don't believe they'll follow through on the promise, and so the shutdown may continue.
Every day we put forth a bill. It's just a continuation. It's a very simple thing to sign and very simple to do. I think they have nothing to lose. They have a party that's out of control. They have no leader. Nobody knows who the leader is.
Yeah, so we're expecting anyway to get another vote today. It may go down to failure like the others have. 522 overseas talks aimed at ending the war in Gaza. They continue in Egypt as Israel yesterday marked the second anniversary of the October 7th attacks, the one that sparked the entire war. Here's correspondent Richard Angle.
There were somber gatherings to mark the moment 2 years ago when several thousand Hamas terrorists killed more than 1,200 Israelis and kidnapped around 250. Including women and children.
But hopes for an end to the conflict and a return of the remaining hostages and the negotiations have Israelis, anyway, we were out in the streets yesterday, feeling excited that this might actually happen.
On this day of pain and remembrance, hopes for diplomacy are rising. In Egypt, President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are pushing talks to implement the president's peace plan.
All right, so the good news is everybody's still there, and there are more countries joining the negotiations today. One of the people watching this incredibly closely is Gal Gilboa Dalal. Her brother Guy was taken hostage as they were both leaving the Nova Music Festival 2 years ago.
I keep thinking about the moment he didn't go in my car, how things could have gone differently. And even there, I was speaking with God the whole time. I was telling him, take me and save my brother.
I mean, she doesn't know if Guy is alive, but she's hoping against hope that he is, and that he'll be returned back to Israel.
We only have one goal. We only care about bringing back Guy and the hostages back. And for that, we stay strong and we keep fighting.
Yeah. The good news is, again, negotiations are continuing today. 523, the World Trade Organization slashing its global trade outlook for 2026.
In its latest global trade report issued Tuesday, the WTO cited U.S. tariffs as the key reason. The Geneva-based group warned next year's growth will slow sharply from its previous expectation of 1.8% to just 0.5%. Meanwhile, it hiked its trade forecast for 2025, largely due to the front-loading of imports into the U.S. ahead of higher trade tariffs. I'm at Mattinson.
524. Remember that section of Long Island City where they were going to put up the Amazon headquarters and some lawmakers sunk that deal? Well, now they have new plans for that plot.
The Long Island City site where Amazon wanted to build a headquarters that opponents stopped because of subsidies to a big corporation may now become the site of 15,000 new apartments. Times change. Now the city's housing crisis is a priority. This time, neighborhood groups are lined up in support of the proposal. Some say Amazon did not represent anything our community really needed. Housing is needed, and now they're thinking about a dream short commute into Manhattan. Joe Connolly, 77 WABC.
Yeah, it would have brought a lot of jobs, though. And employment growth was reportedly flat last month, according to the investment giant Carlyle.
The company is putting out numbers since the government shutdown has stopped the release of official reports from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The numbers showed 17,000 new jobs in September. Last week, payroll processor ADP showed a loss of 32,000 jobs. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
WABC News Time 525.
Maybe there's a happy little clouds that just sort of float right around in the sky and have fun.
You recognize that voice, Bob Ross. Dozens of paintings by the legendary art instructor Bob Ross being auctioned off now to raise money for public TV stations. The artist who became famous in the 80s for that sort of calm teaching approach. He passed away in 1995, but the joy of painting, for whatever reason, it continues to be incredibly popular on multiple streaming services like TikTok. So yesterday, the president of the Bob Ross organization says 30 of his paintings will be auctioned off next month to offset the cost of programming for public stations that have had their federal funding cut. 526, Dolly Parton's sister asking for fans for prayers for the singer as she battles some pretty serious health issues.
In a social media post, Frida Parton says she's been praying for her sister because she hasn't been feeling her best lately. The singer recently announced she'd be postponing upcoming shows in Las Vegas because of health issues, although she did not say what those issues are. Frida concluded her post by saying of her sister, quote, "She's strong, she's loved, and with all the prayers being lifted up for her, I know in my heart she's going to be just fine." I'm Jim Roop.
The daughter of the late Robin Williams wants fans to stop sending her AI-generated videos of her father.
I am Mark from Mark.
In an Instagram story, Zelda Williams tells followers they need to stop believing she wants to see them. Robin Williams suffered from Lewy body dementia and committed suicide in 2014. Zelda says the videos are dumb and a waste of time and energy, and they're not what he'd want. She went on to slam all AI-generated videos that depict dead entertainers, saying they're not art, but disgusting, overprocessed hot dogs. I'm Mark Mayfield.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yep, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 8th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Rain this morning, sun and clouds this afternoon, the high going to be 72. Tonight and overnight, clear, low 53. And then Thursday, sunshine, more fall-like weather, the high 63. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 69 cloudy in Valhalla up in Westchester County, 68 and cloudy in Pennington over in New Jersey, and it's 66 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studio. WABC News Time 540. Let's go out to the campaign for mayor. The candidates trying to navigate the October 7th of attacks of 2 years ago and the commemoration of those yesterday. So the candidates putting out, for the most part, statements, not speaking publicly. Andrew Cuomo saying to the Jewish people, I stand with you, I mourn with you. And then when he did take to the air, he was talking about other issues on the campaign.
I am a Democrat. My father was a Democrat. Democratic Socialists of America are not Democrat. First priority, jobs, jobs, jobs. We're losing jobs. We're losing the economy. Second, what I call cop on the block, cop on the train. I want to add 5,000 police officers. You have to build more affordable housing.
Curtis Lewa, of course, the Republican in the race, calling Tuesday a commemoration of mourning for the lives lost and for those that continue to be lost.
But today is definitely a commemoration of mourning for those that were lost, and then obviously for those that continue to be lost.
Democratic frontrunner Zohran Mamdani, he went further. He says, again, these were all statements the campaigns put out. Hamas carried out a horrific war crime, he said. He mourns these lives and prays for the safe return of every hostage. But then this is the part that got people upset, at least on the Israeli side of things. He then condemned the deaths of 66 Palestinians, and he said that Israel had launched a genocidal war. He said, I mourn these lives and pray for the families that have been shattered. He said, our government has been complicit through it all. With the Israeli Foreign Ministry hitting back at that criticism on social media, saying that Mamdani has chosen to act as a mouthpiece for Hamas, spreading fake genocide stories by repeating Hamas's lies. And they were pretty stuffed. They said, tough at this. They say he stands with Jews only when they're dead. Shameful. That's from the Israeli government. And then New Yorkers reacting to all this, to Mamdani's stance on Israel and what he calls an apartheid state. Some are with him, some are not.
I think it's ill-timed. We're trying to bring peace right now at this moment, so I think it's not the time for him to speak out on this anniversary.
I'm proud of him saying so. I mean, it's like trading 1,200 people that they slaughtered for 65,000. Doesn't seem like that adds up to me.
Now, the candidate's trying to figure out where the Jewish vote stands, an important part of building a coalition if they want to win. Now, the latest Marist poll had Mamdani tied with Cuomo among likely Jewish voters. J.D. Dapter, he's the director of strategy for the Marist poll.
The Jewish vote in New York is very fragmented on the issue of what has happened in Israel and what is happening in Israel now.
Now, J.D. Dapper is one of the few people I've heard say this, that he thinks the race is far from over yet. He says Mamdani has not polled more than 50%, which is why others like Cuomo and Sliwa still feel like they have a decent shot at winning City Hall.
Far enough out that there is a really narrow but a very credible opportunity for Andrew Cuomo to win here and be a big shocker.
Now, we have not seen a major poll since Mayor Adams has dropped out, and whether that has anything in changing the narrative of this race. The next major poll expected to come out in about a week or so, and that will be post Mayor Adams announcing that he has dropped out of the race. All right, 5:44. A woman discovered dead by a worker at a golf course in Livingston, New Jersey yesterday. Her body found near the roadway of what is the exclusive Cedar Hill golf course. They think the body had been there for days. That's according to the police. A neighbor who lives nearby says the grounds are well maintained, so the discovery of a body in this upscale neighborhood comes as quite a shock.
I'm hoping it's more something accidental or just, something that maybe was more difficult to prevent than something that would be perhaps more disturbing to the community, Right. But if it's something involving, intentional or reckless behavior, that would obviously be more of a concern to myself and everybody else around.
So here's what police are telling us. The woman was wrapped in blankets. They're checking databases for missing persons. So far, they've been unable to identify the victim, the victim's cause and manner of death. That's pending results of an autopsy. So we'll get more information and, of course, pass that on to you. In a moment, we will head up to the Upper West Side, where a lot of customers are in mourning over a local store. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Alley.
Thank you, Noam. Layden will start out in the Bronx. The Yankees avoided elimination and extended the ALDS with a 9-6 win over the Toronto Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium. The comeback was fueled by a dramatic Aaron Judge hero performance and key bullpen outings. Toronto jumped out to a 6-1 lead early, thanks in part to a 2-run homer by Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the first inning and a big third inning with multiple RBI hits. In the bottom of the fourth, Aaron Judge came to the plate and crushed a 3-run home run off a fastball from reliever Lewis Varland to tie the game at 6. Here's what that sounded like, courtesy of FS1.
2-strike pitch. Hits a drive down the line. If it's fair, it's his moment. It is! It's tied! Judge has arrived!
Apparently he just arrived. How about that? All right. Welcome, Aaron Judge. He's had a pretty good series before that moment. Was hitting about 500, but was his first home run of the postseason, I should say. Soon after, Jazz Chisholm Jr. put the Yanks up for good with this no-doubter in the 5th.
There's a drive to deep right field. New York leads for the first time in the series. Jazz Chisholm goes deep.
Nice little bat flip as well, coming out of the box for Chisholm. Austin Wells followed with an RBI single, and New York added insurance later to push the lead to 9-6. The Yankees relievers were crucial, shutting down Toronto's offense for the final 6 2/3 innings after Carlos Rodon struggled to start. Up next for the Yankees, another elimination game tonight, set for a 7:08 p.m. first pitch. A little better for us from the Bronx. The rookie Cam Schlittler will return to the mound to try and keep this Yankee train rolling. Out in Detroit.
Would it be Friday's the Game 5 if we make it that far?
What's tomorrow? Thursday? Then you would have it.
Friday's 5.
It would be Friday would be 5. No travel day.
Toronto. Back in Toronto.
Yeah, but no travel day.
No, because tonight's the game.
Thursday's
so then you have Thursday's a travel day.
Thursday's a
Today's
travel
Wednesday.
day. Today's Wednesday.
Okay, stay with me.
Then tomorrow's Thursday. They could travel Thursday. Then they get rested and they play Friday night.
Okay, so Friday. That's what I said. No.
Did your alarm go off? I think I hear it in the other room.
Mariners doubled up the Tigers 8-4 out in Detroit. Seattle leads that series now 2-1 Game 4s this afternoon at 3:08 p.m. again from Detroit. Tonight, 5:08, that's your first pitch between the Brewers and the Cubs out in Chicago. Game 3 there, Milwaukee leading the series 2-0. And later on this evening at 9:08 p.m., the Phillies and the Dodgers will get going out west in L.A. The Dodgers leading that series commandingly as well, 2-0. And we did have hockey last night. Rangers getting their regular season underway with a 3-0 shutout loss to the Penguins. Up next for them, they'll visit Buffalo tomorrow night. Also tomorrow night, the Islanders and Devils will get their campaigns underway. 7 p.m., that's your puck drop in Pittsburgh between the Islanders and the aforementioned Penguins. And the Devils will get going soon after in Carolina against the Hurricanes at 7:30. That is your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. Let's head over to Brooklyn, where a woman was sexually assaulted in her home Monday by a stranger who climbed through an unlocked window. It happened about 4 in the morning, Piling Street and Evergreen Avenue in Bushwick. The creep, the rapist, entered this 43-year-old woman's apartment through the window while she was sleeping. He placed a pillow over her head. The two struggled. He then tied her up, performed some sort of lewd act, then took off with her cell phone and her watch. Of course, this has everybody in the neighborhood freaked out.
Our eyes going to be watching.
She's a real nice person.
I hope whoever did this, they will find him.
Yeah, they will eventually. They have not yet. The woman was hospitalized in stable condition. Saul Zabar, an icon of New York City's food culture, died yesterday. He was 97 years old. Have you ever been to Zabar's? If you haven't, it's not too late. Saul and Stanley Zabar, along with their longtime partner Murray Klein, they ran Zabar's store, this culinary institution on the Manhattan's Upper West Side, for decades. The brothers took it over from their parents, who first opened the Outpost, which would become the family business back in 1934. The entire family sat down for an interview with 60 Minutes. This was in 2022.
My father was a tough, he was working hard. He wanted Saul to be his right-hand man. And Saul didn't want anything until he died. We were all at odds until he died.
Yeah, and then Saul took over the business, and he turned it even into a more successful business. 80th and Broadway, by the way. If you've never been there, initially they had 5 smaller shops across the Upper West Side, and they turned it into one larger business under Saul, this 20,000 square foot store with gourmet foods, coffee, kitchen equipment. I mean, the Locks is really to die for. I mean, it's incredible, among many other things. Cheese, coffee, also great. They sell 400,000 pounds of coffee a year. That was Saul Zabar who came up with selling coffee. He was like all over coffee long before everybody else became novices at coffee. He would try out every flavor, and then he would decide which beans they would sell at the store.
There's nothing he didn't put his hands in, and as a result, all of the people that are here this long, we all have that. We all have Saul inside of us. Saul was a great man. Saul was really like a father to everybody in the store. Every employee here is completely broken up.
Yeah, he worked, he was 97, and he worked really up right until he passed away. Longtime customers yesterday said they love seeing him around the store and were expressing their sympathies to employees yesterday.
It's a very important Upper West Side institution.
Far more than the community. People come from all over the city to come here.
He's to be, honored and respected. We'll miss him.
Yeah, Mayor Adams paying tribute to Zabar's yesterday on social media, saying a true New York legend. He gave the city locks, love, and a place to argue over babka. That's about right. He said, may his memory be a blessing. 5:53. A hot tub delivery in South Jersey ends with the delivery crew in hot water.
A crane from the delivery truck got loose and crashed into the home on Leah Drive in Hamilton around 12:30 Tuesday afternoon. Took until Tuesday evening to remove it. The recently renovated home had a clearly damaged roof where the crane slammed into it. Crews will figure out what other repairs are now needed. No one was hurt, just the house. Workers told police they sensed something was off as they started moving the hot tub and saw the crane's boom shifting toward the house. That's when they took cover. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New Jersey.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he's been fined $250,000 now by the NFL for giving the middle finger to Jets fans at MetLife Stadium over the weekend.
This happened during the Cowboys' win over Gang Green last weekend, and it was caught on cell phone video. Jones could be seen smiling and giving a thumbs up from his private box, but that quickly turned into the less friendly gesture. Jones described the gesture as inadvertent and said it was meant to be a celebratory thumbs up to the enthusiastic Dallas supporters. That bird just flew in there right out of nowhere, apparently. The Cowboys owner claimed he accidentally used the wrong hand in the excitement James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Yeah, thankfully the NFL did not buy that story. There's all these sales going on now. Have you noticed this? Amazon's doing this 2-day pre-Christmas thing where they lower everything. And now a lot of other stores are saying, wait a minute, if Amazon's doing it, maybe we should do it as well.
Target, Walmart, Kohl's, and Best Buy are all having sales too, and some of these sales last almost a week. One survey says 73% of holiday shoppers plan to start early this year. Many prices have risen because of tariffs, but some items have come back down for sales. NBC News reports that it may still be smart to delay some purchases until Black Friday, especially for toys and apparel and appliances. Joe Connolly, 77 WABC News.
And former Yankees center fielder Bernie Williams, his second act, it continues.
In the nearly 20 years since Bernie Williams' last game with the Yankees, he's gotten a degree in music and never stopped playing his guitar. Now he's booked a gig at Carnegie Hall. On January 13th, he'll be appearing with tenor Jonathan Tettleman, and they'll be backed by violinists from the Met Orchestra and Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor's wife, Katya, who's a violinist. The New York Times reports that recently a reporter asked him how being a Yankee prepared him to do a concert like this, and he said just the opposite, that learning music as a child prepared him to be a professional athlete. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?